Page 73. You are not the problem. You are not the problem. Oh, Mother, sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, others who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness. May they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Bodhi. All Mother, sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness. May they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Bodhi. All Mother, sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness. May they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Bodhi. Thus, until I achieve Buddha, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Page 77. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, most excellent, I take refuge until Bodhi is reached by the merit of generosity and other perfections. May I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all wandering beings in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, most excellent, I take refuge until Bodhi is reached by the merit of generosity and other perfections. May I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all wandering beings in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, most excellent. I take refuge until Bodhi is reached by the merit of generosity and other perfections. May I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all wandering beings. May all
Other sentient beings, limitless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from the bias of attachment and aversion. May all mothers sentient beings, limitless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. Rest in equanimity, free from the bias of attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from the bias of attachment and aversion.
Now page 118.
Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion, reckless and mundane, although I meditate on the rarity of the freedoms and endowments. I still squander away my life. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion, reckless and mundane, although I meditate on impermanence and death. I still fixate on composite phenomena as permanent. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion, reckless and mundane, although I meditate on the unmistaken nature of cause and effect. I still pervert what to adopt and what to abandon. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion, reckless and mundane, although I meditate on the sufferings of cyclic existence. I still take the way to the lower realms. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion, reckless and mundane, although I safeguard the vows of individual liberation. I still lack renunciation and the determination to be free. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion, reckless and mundane, although I meditate on all wandering beings as my parents. I still have bias, attachment to friends, and aversion for enemies. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion, reckless and mundane, although I cultivate loving kindness and compassion. I still hold on to envy and enmity. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion, reckless and mundane, although I cultivate aspiration and action, bodhicitta. I still focus only on my own welfare. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion, reckless and mundane, although I meditate on my body as the deity's exalted form. I still cling to ordinary perception. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion, reckless and mundane, although I have counted the mantras to be recited. I still waste away my life force. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion. Reckless and mundane, although I cultivate the samadhi of moon in the water, I still solidify things as real and substantial. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion. Reckless and mundane, although I conclude by dissolving in the subsequent stage, I still purify and confess superficially. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion. Reckless and mundane, although I meditate on my own mind as free from elaborations, I still have conceptual attitudes. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion. Reckless and mundane, although I cultivate not grasping at whatever arises, I still affix an artificial watchfulness. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion. Reckless and mundane, although I cultivate resting freely in the natural state, I still amplify artificialities. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion. Reckless and mundane, although I meditate on unity beyond conceptions, I still get carried away by the masses of likes and dislikes. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion. Reckless and mundane, I supplicate you who are my refuge and protector, and all other lives, physician who removes the chronic diseases of samsara, hero who vanquishes the enemies that are afflictive emotions, sun which dispels the darkness of ignorance, moon that protects from the heat of suffering, jewel which fulfills all our needs and desires. You, Guru, who are all-inclusive and all-sufficient, I supplicate you from the depths of my heart. With compassion, swiftly heed me, effortlessly bestow your blessings. Grant me now and on this sea the naturally accomplished feast of the two benefits. I am endowed with both merit and devotion. Do not leave my hopes unfulfilled. Don't cast away my devotion in vain. Don't let my supplications vanish unanswered. Don't be indifferent with your compassion. Refuge and protector in this life, in the intermediate state and beyond. Whatever occurs, joy or sorrow, good or bad, only you are my hope. Look upon me with eyes of compassion. You alone are my hope.
Well, can I make you work? You have to translate.
Okay.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, maybe I get 60 or 70%.
It's okay. Yeah. Sit closely. If you're not so good, we fire you. We hire Maria Carmen next. Get ready, okay? Then Alex, okay? Next. Different parts. Yeah, no, really, we'll change, you know? Because this is not like a big teaching, you know? We're all friends here, you know? So we help each other out. And then that way, you also get some experience, you know? Translating. Translating. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you.
So that prayer we just did, yeah, although although it is for this sadhana, you can add into any, whether you practice Dara, whether you practice Guru Rinpoche, you can add this. You know? It applies.
Entonces, doctor Lee dice que podemos agregar esta sadhana previa a cualquier práctica que hagamos, ¿no? Puede ser Guru Rinpoche, puede ser Tara, podemos hacer estas oraciones previas.
No. Okay. Because that prayer there, you know, basically lays out the whole path and the mistakes that we make while on the path.
Que en esta oración se refleja el camino y todos los errores que podemos cometer en el camino.
Any questions about, you know, of course, there's a lot we can say about this prayer. When we have the chance, you know, I will go through line by line. Not on this trip because we don't have that much time. We have a lot of sightseeing to do actually.
The origin. The origin of the prayer.
That prayer was, most of that prayer was composed in the 17th century by the first Chungsang Rinpoche.
El doctor le preguntaba si hay preguntas y ella preguntó cuál es el origen. ¿Está bien? Entonces, que fue compuesta la oración en el siglo XVII por Chungsang Rinpoche.
So, this is Kyabgun Chesang Rinpoche. Then, this is, we say, the sun. The moon is Kyabgun Chungsang Rinpoche. Okay? The holiness with us is Kyabgun Chesang Rinpoche. Chesang. That's the sun. Then, Kyabgun Chungsang Rinpoche is the moon. The sun and moon of Drikung Kagyu.
So, His Holiness is Chetsang Rinpoche, ¿verdad? Entonces es como el sol, ¿no? Y His Holiness Chutsang Rinpoche es como la luna.
The Kyabgun Chesang and the Kyabgun Chungsang lineage, right? Because he is like number 7 in the Chesang lineage. The current Chungsang is number 8.
Entonces, su santidad, His Holiness, es como el séptimo del linaje de los Chetsang y su santidad Chutsang es el octavo. Chunsang es el octavo actualmente.
Che is big, Chung is small. Che Tsang, Chung Sang. Tsang don't have exact translation. Yeah? Che grande.
Chung pequeño.
Pequeño Chung. And that's because of an older brother and a younger brother. Yeah. Not great, not like grande, oh he's more great, he's less great, you know. It's older brother and younger brother.
So that Chunsang Rinpoche,
Mhm.
that Chunsang Rinpoche grew up with?
In the book, yes.
Is he not
He's in Tibet.
in Tibet?
Yeah. Chungsang Rinpoche is in Tibet now.
And
He never escaped.
So, His Holiness Chunsang Rinpoche ahorita se encuentra en Tíbet, él nunca pudo escapar. El doctor le explica que el hermano mayor es como Chunsang Rinpoche y el hermano menor es como Chetsang Rinpoche.
No, the other way.
Al revés. Mayor es Chetsang Rinpoche y Chunsang Rinpoche es menor. No significa que uno sea más grande o más importante que el otro, nada más como hermanos, ¿no?
They started, these two lineages started with 2 brothers. in the 17th century.
Este linaje empezó con los dos hermanos en el siglo XVII.
Founder of the lineage, Kyopa Jigten Sungön, lived in the 12th to 13th century.
El fundador de nuestro linaje, Kyopa Jigten Sungön, vivió entre el siglo XII y XIII.
12th to 13th century. So Kyabgon Chungsang, the very first one, in the 17th century, he composed the main part of that prayer. Then later on, a few more verses was added by the Lama who composed this practice called the 4-session Guru Yoga. Yeah.
So, Kyabgon Chunsan compuso esto en el siglo XIII, el primer Kyabgon Chunsan, y después fueron agregadas algunas cosas por el Lama que compuso esta práctica, que son las 4, the
4-session Guru Yoga, which is this whole practice.
como que 4 sesiones de Guru Yoga.
If you turn to page 103, you'll see the title of this practice. And it says 4-session Yoga of Lord Jigten Sungön.
En la página 103 está el título de la práctica, ¿no? O 4 sesiones de Guru Yoga.
Yes.
I know you said you're going to go over line by line, but can I ask about one time?
No. I said at some other future point I'll go line by line. Now you just ask, whatever, I think most of it kind of you can easily understand, but maybe not fully understand. But there are also parts where are a little strange,
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah, one of those lines is
Tell us page first.
page 120.
120.
120, towards the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Says, reckless and mundane, although I have counted the mantras to be recited,
Mhm.
I still waste away my life for it.
Good. That's one of the ones for sure.
Can I explain that?
Yeah. So this line.
En la página 120 está preguntando,
Although I have counted the mantras to be recited, I still waste away my life force. That line.
yo conté todos los mantras para que sean recitados, y yo todavía gasto mi fuerza vital para hacerlo. Sí.
Make sense? Or anyone wants to help with the translation of this line? Don't be shy. Just we're helping each other.
My life force. Yo gastaré toda mi vida, toda mi energía vital.
Yo todavía sigo gastando.
Sigo gastando.
A pesar
Waste away.
de que he contado los mantras que deben ser recitados, aún malgasto mi fuerza vital.
Malgasto.
O sea, desperdicio, ¿no?
Yeah, like waste away.
Waste. Yeah. So yes, this is definitely one. When we were chanting, I thought somebody should ask this question. So, what is the relationship between counted the mantras? Meaning, counted the mantras means like accumulate mantra.
Entonces, ¿cuál es la relación entre contar los mantras? Contar los mantras es como acumular mantras, ¿no?
So the structure of this prayer is like this, right? Although I'm doing this, here I'm doing the opposite of this. Make sense?
La estructura de esta práctica es, por un lado, estoy haciendo todo esto, pero por el otro lado estoy haciendo esto otro, ¿no?
Like I'm supposed to, have love and compassion for everyone, but here I have enemy, I have friends.
Supuestamente tengo amor y compasión, ¿no? Por este lado, pero por este otro tengo
No,
enemigo.
actually, although I'm supposed to have love and compassion for everyone, here I have envy and enmity. Like envy is like jealousy and enmity, like
Sí.
hatred.
Entonces, por un lado, amor y compasión, y por el otro lado, envidia, ¿no?
Yeah. So this one is a contrast. So that's what's being contrasted. Yeah. Although I'm supposed to, although I accumulate mantra, here I'm wasting my life force. So what is the relationship?
Entonces, por un lado, acumulo mantras y por el otro, estoy malgastando mi fuerza, ¿no? Vital. Entonces, ¿cuál es la relación entre esto?
One of the reasons to accumulate mantra, and especially in the context of people doing 100,000 vajrasattvas, 1 million mani mantra, and doing it intensely. So that is a practice. And people would
Entonces, ¿cuál es la razón de acumular mantras, no? Hay personas que hacen 10,000 mantras de Vajrasattva o 1,000,000 de mantras. Entonces, perdón, de las
Chenresi, o Manipadma.
o de Chenresi.
Is that when you do that, you build up power.
Es que cuando hacen eso, construyen un poco de poder.
Like power to benefit others, power to bless people, you know.
El poder de beneficiar a otros o de bendecir a la gente.
So mantra is also verbal, right? Verbal words. Verbal.
Ah, claro. El mantra es verbal, ¿no? Es verbal.
And words is related to life force.
Ah, y las palabras están relacionadas a la fuerza vital.
So when you accumulate mantra, you build up power and life force.
Entonces, cuando acumulas mantras, también acumulas de alguna forma energía vital.
Now, of course, you can also use mantra for other purposes, like to calm the mind and to relax, you know. We need that also.
Bueno, también los puedes usar para otros propósitos, como es relajarse. Está bien, ¿no?
But here, the purpose of mantra is more about building up power, building up life force.
Pero allí en la práctica, el propósito es eso, acumular energía vital.
But here it says, instead, I waste away my life force. I throw away my life force.
Sí, pero allí mismo también dice que malgasta, ¿no?, su energía vital.
And according to Vajrayana, one of the main ways life force is wasted is giving in to desires.
De acuerdo al Vajrayana, una de las formas de desperdiciar es entregarlo a los deseos.
To indulge your desires.
Dejarse llevar. O dejarse llevar por los deseos.
Cuando caes en los deseos, ¿no? Las cosas, caes en satisfacer los deseos.
Como dejarse llevar, ¿no?
Sigues a tu deseo.
Or feed your...
Alimentar.
Como alimentar los deseos.
To feed your desires.
Están desperdiciando energía vital.
Then
alimentando eso.
Life force is depleted.
Y la energía vital se gasta.
Can you say again that so speech is life force? Did you say that?
Related to life force.
Speech is related to it.
Yeah. Speech is related to... Speech has a close connection with life force, with wind, with breath, as we were talking about.
Entonces la palabra tiene una conexión con la energía vital mediante el aliento, ¿no?
Is the effect of that to discourage mindless chatter? Is the effect of that to discourage kind of mindless chatter?
Okay. So there is like we say, we should not
chismorrear.
Now, of course, there is there is another reason why we should not blah blah blah, because when we blah blah blah, often we cause problems. Right? That's the obvious one. And yes, the other one is mindless chatter is also a waste of life force. You see, there are two levels to why mindless chatter is negative. One, it will, without you knowing, you are causing misunderstanding.
Entonces esta puede ser una razón también para evitar el chismorreo, ¿no? Que una es porque puedes causar problemas a las personas, entre la gente, y sí, definitivamente otra es porque es una forma de perder también energía vital en algo que no sirve.
And on a energy level, you deplete, you lose your life force when you blah blah blah.
En el nivel energético también estás gastando o incluso terminando tu energía vital.
So for people who do intensive mantra accumulation retreat, they also take a vow of silence other than the mantra.
Cuando algunas personas hacen retiros de silencio, toman votos de silencio, nada más como solo para recitar el mantra, ¿no?
So is this line kind of exhorting maybe like us me as a lay person to try not to focus or try not to indulge my desires but focus on practice?
Try not to indulge
my desires and instead focus on practice?
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah. But again, it's not making you feel bad, okay? It's just pointing out, you know.
Mm-hmm.
This is how we are always, you know. We say right hand, right? With your Tibetan, they have one saying. Right hand leaving a handprint, left hand wiping off the handprint. Like powerful lamas, it said, you know, they can put their hand on a rock and leave a handprint. Then with the left hand wiping it off, destroying the handprint.
Él pregunta si esta es una forma de darnos fuerza, de motivarnos para hacer la práctica. Y Dr. Lee le dice, bueno, no lo tomes a mal, ¿no? O sea, no es que eso te desanime a hacer la práctica, porque cuenta una historia del Tíbet, que unos maestros pueden poner su huella sobre una roca y con la otra mano la borran, ¿no?
I feel dim. I don't understand the metaphor there. Like you're wasting time.
You have power enough to press your hand onto a rock surface. At the same time, you are destroying this miraculous, display that you have just shown.
Como que tienes el poder realmente como para poner tu huella con la mano en una roca, pero a la vez tienes el mismo poder para borrar esa cosa tan milagrosa, tan linda.
Anything else in this prayer that kind of jumps out? Otherwise, it's at least in terms of understanding, it's no problem.
Si tienen
Deeper
alguna pregunta,
meanings, so yeah, sure.
Si tienen alguna pregunta del texto también pueden hacerla.
Yes, Alex.
Here. The meaning of
Page?
Sorry. 121.
21, okay.
121.
Married of moon in the water.
Ah,
It's
okay.
like seeing everything like a reflection.
Okay, so 121, right? It says, although I cultivate the samadhi of moon in the water.
Hay una parte de esa página 121 que dice cultivar el samadhi de la luna en el agua.
Yeah. So what that means is, yes, it is about reflection, but then what that means is the illusory, magical, fluid nature of all experiences. So on the one hand, you're trying to stabilize your understanding that all experiences are like the reflection of moon, in the water, right? The moon is not in the water. It's just reflection. Yeah, so we're supposed to practice this, meaning see all, relate to all experiences as like the moon that is reflected in the water. So we should practice this. The next part then we'll look at.
Entonces sí es cierto que esta parte habla de un poco de reflexión y de lo ilusorio que es la imagen en la luna, en el agua. Que si bien es cierto, sí está la luna en el agua, pero es nada más un reflejo. Entonces nos motiva a ver la experiencia de la vida que realmente es así, ¿no? Todo como ilusorio.
So we say, oh, I'm meditating on illusory nature, I'm meditating on emptiness, But, next part, I still solidify things as real and substantial.
Entonces creemos, ¿no?, que estamos meditando en la naturaleza ilusoria de la vida, pero el siguiente verso dice: yo todavía solidifico las cosas como reales y sustanciales.
Oh, illusory, oh. Right? It's okay, Maybe that's just physical reaction, right? Yeah, if people beat you, right? Slap you. But usually when people slap you, the real suffering is not, right? It's something else, right?
Es como cuando te dan una bofetada, ¿no? Causa sufrimiento, pero en realidad el verdadero sufrimiento no es solo la cachetada, ¿no?, sino hay algo más.
Right? I think, that pain, right? It's just body, It's the way our body is built. So maybe that is okay, right?
Y bueno, sí, o sea, te dan una cachetada y hay como un dolor, pero es dolor del cuerpo, ¿no? Es porque así es como tu cuerpo está compuesto.
But at least in human culture, slapping has a particular meaning, right?
Sí, pues en la cultura humana una cachetada tiene un sentido particular, ¿no?
Right? Somebody slapping you and somebody punching you has two different meanings, right?
Alguien dándote una cachetada o alguien dándote un golpe tienen diferentes significados, ¿no?
So it's those meanings, we solidify.
Son esos significados los que solidificamos.
But those meanings are illusory.
Pero esos significados son ilusorios.
Yeah. Those meanings are illusory. Like reflection of moon in the water. Sometimes that moon seems to be moving. Sometimes that moon seems to be not moving. Sometimes the moon looks big. Sometimes the moon looks small. Sometimes the moon is clear. Sometimes the moon is not clear, you know?
Y al final realmente son ilusorios, ¿no? Como el reflejo de la luna en el agua, ¿no? A veces está moviéndose, a veces está pequeña, a veces está grande, a veces está clara, a veces no está tan nítida, ¿no?
There's a Turkish saying.
Hay un dicho turco.
A flower thrown by a friend hurts more than a rock thrown by an enemy.
Una flor lanzada por un amigo duele más que una piedra lanzada por un enemigo.
Enemy. Yeah. A flower thrown by a friend hurts more than a rock thrown by an enemy.
Una flor lanzada por un amigo te duele más que la piedra que te lanza el enemigo.
The origin of that saying is
El origen de esto es
Hafiz, maybe one of the Turkish Sufi saint. And his has to do with Halaj, Halaj is the Sufi saint that was convicted of heresy, like wrong belief, yeah, and was on his way to be executed. Because some religious authorities don't like Sufi, you know. They say Sufi is not real Islam. So Halaj was a very famous Sufi master. And so when they dragged him to the execution, the government requires everyone to show that they are good Muslim. So everyone is encouraged to pick up stone and throw at this sinner. And so of course, people throwing stones at Halaj. Then one of his friends standing there, and when he passed, the friend actually didn't have the heart to throw a stone. But then he felt that if he doesn't throw something, then other people will judge him. So he took a rose and threw at Halaj. And Halaj said at that point, a flower thrown by a friend hurts more than a stone thrown by enemies. It's a very human feeling, It is. But here, Buddha says, but that is, that's how we create suffering.
Esto
Okay, good luck.
Esto fue dicho por un santo sufi, ¿no? Que su nombre era Halash, que estaba como acusado de herejía, porque los musulmanes no consideran el sufismo como verdadero islam. Entonces en su camino, cuando él estaba siendo castigado y lo iban a ejecutar, pues todas las personas le tiraban piedras, ¿no? Esa era la forma de castigar. Y él reconoció en la multitud a uno de sus amigos que no tenía el coraje de tirarle una piedra, pero el amigo se dio cuenta que si no tiraba nada también lo podían ver mal, entonces tiró una rosa y le lanzó a su amigo, y ahí es cuando Halash sintió eso, ¿no? Y dijo este dicho que más duele una flor lanzada por tu amigo que una piedra de tu enemigo, porque es un sentimiento muy humano, ¿no? Es un sentimiento humano. Está bien.
Pero no del Buda.
Hay más.
Sí, hay más. O sea, y que en el texto el Buda entonces dice que eso nada más es como...
Ok. Y que en el texto del Buda él dice que...
O sea, la idea es que también eso nada más es una idea, o sea, el sufrimiento. O sea.
Y que al final sí, pues es una idea, ¿no? Es una creación mental, ¿no? Humana.
So how did he overcome that suffering?
Who?
He died.
Halaj? Halaj? That's a different story, you know, whatever happened there. I'm just giving an example. Yeah, he died. Game over.
But he wrote it down before he died.
No, people heard, you know.
People heard him.
Heard him say that, you know. Really sad.
But in reality, like if you go across that kind of suffering, then how would you overcome that with wisdom?
So here it says, you know. Yeah. Here it says. I still solidify things as real and substantial. Right? So now you have to practice the samadhi of moon in the water. To see all experiences as insubstantial, temporarily arising. To see the temporary and arbitrary nature of feelings.
Ella pregunta cómo superas este tipo de dolor, de sufrimiento, ¿no? Y es justamente lo que el Dr. Lee recalca, que dice en el texto, practicar el samadhi de la luna en el agua, ¿no? Que es realmente poder ver estas cosas como lo que son, una ilusión, un espejismo que no es real.
As long as we're not willing to release, then suffering will continue.
Si no tenemos la voluntad de soltarlo, pues nada más va a seguir en nosotros.
So what this gets back to is realizing that under certain conditions, people are going to say one thing or do one thing. When other conditions arise, they may not. So it's fluid. It's not. This person is not always going to be throwing roses. Under other circumstances, they will be making offerings or something.
You could say that, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
That's okay.
Your question.
That's okay.
I wonder if you could explain a little bit this one that says
Page?
On page 121,
La 121 igual.
reckless and mundane, although I conclude by dissolving in the subsequent stage, I still purify and confess superficially.
Although I conclude by dissolving in the subsequent stage.
Although, what does although means?
Although.
Pues.
A pesar de, concluye en disolverse en la etapa subsecuente, ¿no? Claro, I conclude. Yo concluyo en disolverme, en disolver en la etapa subsecuente.
Then I still
Yo todavía purifico y confieso superficialmente.
That's another one that involves some technical kind of understanding. So what it's talking about here is subsequent stage, meaning after creation stage is the dissolution. Right? The creation stage and the dissolution. So it's here it says, although, right, I conclude my deity yoga by now, dissolving into emptiness. You're supposed to do that, okay? First, that's what you're supposed to do. If you're practicing deity yoga, after you imagine I'm Tara, then Om Tara to Tara to Om Tara, then dissolve, right? So you should do that, right?
Como que sí es una explicación un poco técnica, pero habla de la etapa de la creación y la etapa de la disolución, ¿no? Es como que en las prácticas de las deidades, del yoga de las deidades, uno se ve a sí mismo como la deidad, pero al final se disuelve, ¿no? Se crea como la deidad y se disuelve.
Then you're supposed to, after that, right, do like Vajrasattva, to purify and to confess for any mistakes that you made in your practice. That's why we always chant Vajrasattva after we come back from a break, blah, 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 blah,
Entonces, una forma de purificar estos errores es, por ejemplo, cantar el mantra de Vajrasattva, ¿no? Que como que nos perdona los errores, ¿no? Por eso es que hacemos Vajrasattva cuando volvemos de los recreos, de estar ahí bla bla bla, hacemos el mantra de Vajrasattva.
But here we do that superficially.
Ahora lo
We don't
hacemos
really mean it.
superficialmente, no realmente lo significamos bien.
So we even make Vajrasattva mantra into one type of blah blah blah.
De alguna forma estamos haciendo el mantra de Vajrasattva como otro bla bla bla.
True, right? Yes. That's what we do. And sometimes, right, Vajrasattva mantra is supposed to repair, right? Then we break Vajrasattva mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya. Hallelujah. We recite, we get lost, you know. Sutokaya membo wa supoka anurado membo. So the repair method, we break, you know.
A veces nos enredamos en el mismo mantra y cometemos errores en el mantra, entonces ese mismo mantra hace que reparemos ese error, ¿no?
Okay, actually tonight, what I want to also introduce to you is starting on page 141.
En la página 141 quiere introducir algo el doctor Lee.
141, it's Achi sadhana.
La sadhana de Achi.
It's long compared to most Achi sadhanas you probably know.
Es larga comparada con algunas otras sadhanas de Achi que puedas conocer.
Even the Achi mantra is different from the usual one.
Incluso el mantra de Achi es diferente del usual.
So this sadhana, first on page 143. 143.
Primero empieza en la 143.
From 143 to 146 is the lineage prayer.
Desde la 143 a la 146 es la oración de linaje.
The lineage of Achi practice.
El linaje de la práctica de Achi.
Achi is an affectionate term, which means grandma.
Achi es como un término afectivo que significa abuela.
But in a very specific area of Tibet, so not universally. Many Tibetans, so don't imagine, Tibetans calling their grandma Achi, Achi. No, it's a very kind of particular area and also a very old usage. Today, people don't use this word to call grandma. Okay.
Entonces es solo una parte específica del Tíbet. No imaginas que en todo Tíbet les dicen Achi a sus abuelas. No es solo una parte específica y es estilo antiguo. Ya no se usa mucho.
But anyway, this is referring to the great grandmother, not grandmother, literally, but great grandmother of Kyopa Jigten Sungpa. I think most of you are familiar with Achi, but let me just say a few things about her.
Entonces como una abuela, ¿no? Como una gran abuela y realmente como la abuela de Kyopa Jigten Sungpa.
So she lived probably around the same time as Milarepa.
Ella vino más o menos con la misma época de Milarepa.
About 11th century.
Como en el siglo XI.
So she is, in her own lifetime, said to be a great yogini.
Mientras vivía era una gran yogini.
From very young age, recognized as someone special. Then when her parents tried to marry her to someone, she ran away.
Desde niña era reconocida como una gran yogini, ¿no? Y cuando sus papás trataron de casarla con alguien más, se escapó.
A Tibetan feminist.
All right.
Feminista tibetana.
Did you run away? Yeah, she ran away. She was born in central Tibet. And then she ran away to eastern Tibet.
Sí, ella realmente se escapó, ¿no? Ella nació en el Tíbet central y se escapó al Tíbet del este.
She wasn't just simply running away. She knew that she had to go to eastern Tibet because there is someone there that she's supposed to be with. Not what her parents was trying to arrange for her.
No solamente se escapó, sino que realmente sabía que yendo hacia el este había alguien esperándola a ella.
So she apparently went with some traders that came from eastern Tibet to trade, to sell stuff in central Tibet. So when these people were going back to eastern Tibet, she said, "Can I come with you?" Because travel was very dangerous, and especially for a young woman. And even following these traders is dangerous. You never know, they might sell you to someone along the way. Oh no, Tibetan life was very tough. Yes, of course, also Dharma very strong. But the reality of life there is really very hard, So there's no guarantee these people will actually deliver her safely. But she went, very brave, really brave. So she went and safely arrived, in eastern Tibet.
Aparentemente se fue con un comerciante, ¿no? Que justo venía de Tíbet oriental al Tíbet del centro para vender cosas y ella se fue con ellos, pero en realidad ella tenía mucho coraje porque no era muy seguro en esa época viajar con los comerciantes. Ellos mismos podrían venderla a ella en algún otro lugar, ¿no? Pero ella confió y viajó con él.
When she got there, she was looking for someone in particular. And it turns out to be a much older yogi.
Cuando ella llegó, estaba buscando por alguien en particular y era un yogi mucho mayor, ¿no?
Like maybe 3 times her age.
Casi 3 veces su edad.
So she found him, and his name is, if you look at the lineage prayer, it says Sutrim Gyatso on the first line of the lineage prayer. Sutrim Gyatso. After Vajrayogini is Sutrim Gyatso.
Entonces
That's his name.
¿no? Lo encontró a él y su nombre era Sutrim Gyatso.
So she found Sutrim Gyatso and she said, "You and me, We're supposed to be together.
Ella lo encontró y cuando le habló le dijo, tú y yo supuestamente tenemos que estar juntos.
Sutrin Gyatso looked at her, maybe slightly interested, who knows?
Y él la miró a ella como que un poco interesado, quién sabe.
Maybe for one moment, felt, ooh.
Tal vez por un momento pensó que,
It said that she was very beautiful, actually.
Y era dicho que ella era muy bonita, ¿no?
So today, even today, Tibetans will say, all the women born in Drikung area are really beautiful, and it's because of Achi. Yeah.
Ahora en el Tíbet se dice, ¿no? Que todas las mujeres nacidas en
Drikung,
en el área Drikung son bonitas por ella, ¿no?
All Drikung women are really beautiful. When I went to visit Tibet, Tibetan people, they say, oh, you're going to Drikung? Oh, look out for the girls. They're really beautiful.
Entonces ese área Drikung tiene la fama de tener mujeres bonitas, ¿no? Cuando Dr. Lee fue a visitar, le habían dicho, vas a ir a Drikung, ten cuidado con las mujeres que están lindas, ¿no?
And they say it's because of Achi. So she was very beautiful.
Y dicen que esto era debido a Achi, ¿no? Porque ella era muy bonita.
So this old man looked at her and he said, no, please go away.
Al final este hombre mayor le dijo, la miró y le dijo, no, por favor, vete nomás. No.
He said, I'm done with that, I'm a yogi, I'm old, I'm getting ready to die. I don't need this kind of distraction, Please, go away.
Ella era un yogi mayor y entonces dijo, yo ya no estoy para esto, por favor, no estoy para este tipo de distracciones, ¿no? Vete nomás.
Well, probably the opposite of most old men.
Probablemente lo opuesto a lo que muchos hombres mayores harían.
She wouldn't give up.
Pero ella no se rendiría.
In the end, obviously she won.
Y al final, obviamente, ella ganó.
She was the Tibetan feminist.
Fue una feminista tibetana.
So eventually they had 4 sons together.
Y eventualmente tuvieron 4 hijos juntos.
So among these 4 sons,
entre estos 4 hijos,
see the name Tsumpa Bar in the second line towards the right.
Pueden ver el nombre Sumpabar en la segunda línea.
That son had a son called Dorje, Neojo Dorje.
Ese hijo tuvo un hijo llamado Dorje.
Neojo Dorje.
Neojo Dorje.
Also in this lineage prayer. Neojo Dorje was the father of Kyopa Jigten Sungpa.
Y Neojo Dorje fue el padre de Kyopa Jigten Sungpa.
So Kyopa Jigten Sungpa is the great grandson of Achi.
Entonces, Kyopa Jigten Sungpa es el bisnieto de Achi.
So it's said that she prophesied. In fact, she told the old yogi, when the old yogi said, no, please, I'm old, I'm getting ready to die, And then he also said later, he said, I'm poor, I cannot afford to have a wife, And so on the Dharma side, I have no interest. On the worldly side, I cannot even support myself. How am I supposed to support you? Then Achi said, but I know if we are together, our descendants will bring great benefit to many beings. So she prophesied Kyopa Jigten Sungpa.
Entonces, de alguna manera, ella profetizó a Kyoga Jiten Sungong, ¿no? Cuando habló con su esposo, él no estaba convencido y le dijo, no, yo soy pobre, no voy a poder mantenerte. Pero ella insistió y le dijo que si nosotros estamos juntos, algún beneficio futuro se va a dar para muchas personas. Entonces profetizó a Kyoga Jiten Sungong.
There are many other stories about her life. But when she passed away, they say that she was very mysterious. The last time anyone saw her, a mysterious blue horse turned up. She jumped on the horse. The horse flew up into the sky and never saw her again.
Y hay muchas historias que se dicen alrededor de ella, ¿no? Cuando ella falleció, apareció un caballo azul y ella se subió al caballo azul y el caballo azul voló al cielo y nunca la volvieron a ver.
Then, so this was Eastern Tibet, right? Yeah? The marriage and her raising a family. Yeah? This is in Eastern Tibet. Yeah? So then, great-grandson, Eastern Tibet, came to Central Tibet, ended up in Achi's birth area, which is what we call Drikung. Yeah? Achi was from the Drikung area.
Todo esto pasó en el Tíbet del Este, ¿no? Toda esta historia, hasta el bisnieto de Achi, que es Kyoga Jiten Sungong, y él volvió al Tíbet central, de donde había nacido Achi, y es el área Drikung.
So it's said that after Kyoga Jiten Sungong had a big kind of gathering of disciples in Drikung, after he settled there, more and more disciples came, right? Practice with him, learn with him. Then what happened was, after a while, one day, people started to hear the sound of damaru, like especially like at night. At first, people just thought maybe someone is doing practice. But it turned out that nobody, at least no human, was playing damaru. So these damaru sounds keep getting kind of disruptive, People would get woken up at night because they thought they heard damaru. So eventually they went to Kyoga Jiten Sungong and asked, is there some like negative force, causing problems? Then at that point, Kyoga Jiten Sungong kind of looked into the situation. Then he said, okay, no, don't worry, this is fine. I will deal with it. And then she called her. Then she appeared. Then he asked, who are you? There are no photos, okay, at that time. Grandma's photo on the wall he grew up with. Oh, that's great grandma, okay? There are no photos, right? So I said, who are you? And she said, I'm your great grandmother. And then that is how we know all about this.
Okay, maybe I need help, but cuando Kyoga Jiten Sungong regresó al Tíbet central, se realizaron muchas reuniones y muchos discípulos empezaron a reunir. Entonces, estos discípulos en una noche de prácticas escuchaban el sonido de damarus, ¿no? De tambores, y no sabían de dónde era. Salieron a mirar y realmente no había ningún humano tocando damarus en ese momento. Entonces avisaron a Kyoga Jiten Sungong para porque estaban sorprendidos, ¿no? Tal vez era algo negativo que estaba pasando. Y Kyogaji Tenzungon pudo ver la situación y les dijo, no se preocupen, yo me encargo de esto. Entonces él llamó a Achi. I didn't understand the part. Did she call it her or he called it her?
He called her.
Entonces él llamó
You know,
a...
it's like, you know, whoever is making these Dhammaru sounds, show yourself.
Okay.
Because it's a spirit being, you know. Show yourself.
Entonces
And she appeared.
él llamó, ¿no? Dijo, quien quiera que esté tocando estos Dhammarus, muéstrese. Y cuando dijo eso, se mostró Achi, ¿no? Y le dijo, yo soy tu bisabuela. El doctor Libromé dice, no, en ese tiempo no había fotos, ¿no? Pero él sintió y vio, ¿no? Que era su bisabuela.
Then she told him, you know, their history.
Ah, ok. Y entonces ella le contó a él ya toda la historia, ¿no?
And then she said, you know, then she revealed, right, that she is a human emanation of Vajrayogini.
Entonces reveló que ella era la emanación humana
Vajrayogini.
de Vajrayogini.
And then she said, I made a vow to protect the Dharma of 1,000 Buddhists.
Que dijo que había hecho un voto para proteger el Dharma de 1,000 budistas.
1,000 Buddhists.
De 1,000 Budas.
But in particular, I will protect your spiritual lineage.
Pero en particular yo voy a proteger tu linaje espiritual.
By implication, she recognized Kyobaji Tenzungon as a Buddha.
Y por implicancia, ella reconoció a Kyobaji Tenzungon como un Buda.
She said, I have made a promise to protect the teachings of 1,000 Buddhists. In particular, I will protect your teachings. And so she's saying, you are one of these 1,000 Buddhists.
Le dijo, yo he hecho un voto para proteger las enseñanzas de 1,000 Budas, pero en particular voy a proteger tus enseñanzas, ¿no? Entonces ahí le dio a entender que él era un Buda también.
So then, since then, Achi Choki Droma is the special protector for Drikung Kagyu.
Es por eso que Achi es considerada como una protectora especial de Drikung Kagyu.
But her practice is done by not just Drikung Kagyu people.
Pero su práctica is done.
It's not just Drikung Kagyu people.
Su práctica no es solo para los practicantes Drikung Kagyu.
Many Nyingmas and Gelugpas and other Kagyupas, of course.
Muchos de la escuela Nyingma, Gelugpas o otros Kagyupas
also practice Achi.
También practican Achi.
Maybe not so focused, you know. They recognize her as one of the Dharmapalas, one of a group of Dharma protectors. But for Drikung Kagyu, she's the main Dharma protector.
Tal vez no tan enfocados, ¿no? Para ellos es como una deidad más, ¿no? Protectora del Dharma, pero obviamente para nosotros Drikung es la principal protectora del Dharma.
So we and one of the promises she made was that any disciple of my great-grandson, right? The further they are away from Drikung, the more powerful my protection.
Ella hizo una promesa también, ¿no? Que cualquier discípulo de mi nieto, Drikung Kagyu, lo más lejos que esté, dijo, ¿no? Lo más lejos que esté, yo lo voy a proteger.
So this is very far, you know.
Yeah.
Ahora estamos muy lejos realmente.
So she's most powerful here.
Entonces es más poderosa aquí.
So if you even if you're not from here, now that you're here, you have some special prayer. You now pray to her, you know.
Y por más que no sean de aquí, igual están aquí, así que si tienen una oración especial, es tiempo para rezar.
So 143 to 146, it's the lineage prayer.
De la 143 a la 146 es esta oración de linaje.
Just to point out 145, go to 145 at the bottom of 145.
Al final de la 145,
Shive Lodro and Chuki Jumne. Okay? You see that name, right? Shive Lodro is the last Chesang. Chuki Jumne is the last Chungsang.
Dice que Shive
Lodro
es el último Chetsang. Y
and Chuki Jumne
es el último Chunsang.
Yeah, Chuki Jumne was the last Chungsang. So then from there it says root guru, you know. That means after them, then their disciple is our root guru.
Y el discípulo inmediato de ellos es nuestro gurú raíz.
In the Drikung tradition, when we do prayer to the lineage, I'm not sure about other lineages, but in the Drikung tradition, whenever we do prayer to the lineage,
en la tradición Drikung, cada vez que hacemos una oración al linaje,
we do not say the names of living masters. We don't add their names into the list.
No decimos los nombres de maestros que están vivos. The last part.
We do not add the names of living masters to lineage prayers.
Let's see. Yeah. Sí.
Because Kyoba Jigden Sungwan says it will cause obstacles to the master.
Porque Kyoba Jigden Sungwan dijo que esto puede causar obstáculos al maestro.
That we should not do that.
Entonces no lo debemos hacer.
Kyoba Jigden Sungwan says, you know, like all Kagyupas, he said, you know, without the guru, there's no liberation.
Kyoba Jigden Sungwan dijo que sin el gurú no hay liberación.
But at the same time, he also said, don't put your living guru's name into this type of prayer.
Pero al mismo tiempo dijo, no pongan los nombres de sus gurús en ese tipo de oración.
So it's very nuanced, you know. There's subtle things, you know.
Sí, nuanced?
Nuanced. How do you translate that?
Nuanced.
It's very subtle.
Es como que muy sutil, ¿no? Hay algo ahí.
It doesn't mean, oh, guru is important, then you simply put, you know.
No significa que porque el gurú es importante, simplemente pones un nombre ahí.
Yeah. Anyway.
De todas formas.
Then the actual sadhana starts on 148.
La verdadera sadhana empieza en la 148.
The little, the words in a smaller font, that basically tells you what you have to prepare for the shrine, what kind of offerings you should have, and things like that.
La letra pequeña dice qué tipo de ofrenda tienes que hacer y cosas como esa.
149.
En la 149.
To 152.
Hasta la 152.
Sorry, to 153.
Perdón, hasta la 153.
That is blessing the offerings.
Eso es como una bendición, eso es como bendecir las ofrendas.
Like to clean the offerings, to make the offerings, even more greater.
Es como limpiar las ofrendas o hacer que las ofrendas sean más grandes, grandiosas.
Yeah, so 149 to 153, to the middle of 153 is for that purpose.
Entonces, desde la 149 hasta la mitad de la 153 es para eso, para ese propósito.
So to do the cleansing and the making greater, you have to do that with full confidence that you are Vajrayogini.
Entonces, para hacer esa limpieza y hacer crecer la ofrenda, tienes que tener la confianza de que tú eres Vajrayogini.
So if you are doing this practice and you don't have that much time, especially if you do it on a regular basis, these sections not absolutely needed.
Entonces, si estás haciendo esta práctica y especialmente si la haces muy seguido y no tienes el tiempo, pues esta sección no es tan importante de hacer.
So then instead, in middle of 153, that is where you start.
En vez de eso, en la mitad de la 153, ahí es donde empieza.
That's where it says Om Swabha Vashuddha Sarvadhamma Swabha Vashuddhoham. That mantra is the mantra of emptiness. So you say the mantra of emptiness.
Ahí está el mantra de la vacuidad. Entonces recitas el mantra de la vacuidad.
153. Then 154, 155, 156, 157, 158, 159 to 160, until 160.
Entonces de allí hasta la página 160.
From the middle of 153 to 160.
Desde la mitad de la 153 hasta la 160.
It's basically the process of transforming yourself into Vajrayogini.
Es básicamente el proceso de transformarte a ti mismo como Vajrayogini.
Surrounded by the 4 Dakinis, like her emanation.
Rodeado de 4 Dakinis y su emanación.
As in your emanation.
Como en tu emanación. As in your emanation.
Yeah, like you are Vajrayogini and then you emanate the 4 goddesses.
Como si tú eres Vajrayogini y tú emanas esas 4 Dakinis.
So this is the pure nature of your 5 aggregates.
Es como la naturaleza pura de tus 5 agregados.
Now, as a mandala of Vajrayogini with the 4 Dakinis.
Como un mandala de las Vajrayoginis con sus 4 Dakinis.
Then 160 you accumulate, build up the Vajrayogini mantra.
150.
To 160.
En las 160 está el mantra, perdón, sorry.
Vajrayogini.
El mantra de Vajrayogini.
Which is at the top, Om Sarva Buddha Dhakini Bham Harini Sahum.
Está al principio y es ese mantra, ¿no?
That's the short Vajrayogini mantra.
Es el mantra corto de Vajrayogini.
Briefly, the meaning of that mantra, Om, is Om. Sarva Buddha Dhakini is the Dakini of all Buddhas.
Brevemente el significado de ese mantra es Om, es Om. Y después el
Sarva Buddha Dakini
Sarva Buddha Dakini
is the Dakini of all Buddhas.
es el Dakini de todos los Budas.
And Dakini is basically in this, right? I think most of you know, is sort of the feminine expression of Buddha state.
Básicamente allí Dakini significa el aspecto femenino del estado del Buda.
Then Bam is the seed syllable of the main Vajrayogini. Bam, the syllable Bam here is the seed syllable of Vajrayogini, the central Vajrayogini.
Entonces la sílaba Pam es como la principal semilla del Vajrayogini.
Ha, Ri, Ni, Sa is the seed syllable of the 4 Dakinis. Ha, Ri, Ni, Sa.
Entonces Ha, Ri, Ni, Sa es la semilla de las Dakinis.
Usually it's clockwise. For Vajrayogini practice is counterclockwise.
Normalmente es en sentido de las agujas de reloj, pero en este caso es antihorario.
So Ha, Ri, Ni, Sa. So you repeat that mantra as many times as you want.
Que repiten este mantra cuantas veces quieran.
So this is to build up, confidence, to build up conviction that you are Vajrayogini.
Entonces esto es para generar confianza, ¿no? que tú eres Vajrayogini.
Then from middle of 160,
Is there an accompanying visualization for this mantra?
don't ask questions that you don't want the answer for.
I see it on the page before.
What?
Yeah, it's on the page before, right?
No. That's not the reason why I said don't ask questions.
Dr. Lee, I have a question.
Yes. Be careful what you ask.
Maybe we can switch now. The last car is...
Oh yeah. Sorry. Yes. He has to catch the last bus out of town. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you to you.
Or whoever is willing to do this. Thank you.
Good night. No, the sadhana doesn't give details. Yeah. Means we're very lucky. Because the main practice is not this yet. The main practice is next. The main part of the practice is next. Next part. So in the next part, now Achi comes. The next part, starting on page 160. It says Dongbe Ngangle. That is when the start of Achi in the space in front. 160, 161 is describing Achi. 62, Achi also has 4 dakinis. surrounding her. Achi also has 4. So 162 is the first one. 63, the next one, this time clockwise. 61 in front, 62 in front, 63, the one on the right, 64, the one behind, 65, 64 is the one over here. So 4 dakinis, achi. Then first you visualize Achi and 4 dakinis. Then you invite actual Achi to come and to dissolve into Achi in front. So that continue until then after Achi comes, 168, starting from 168, is making offerings and making praise. This goes on until 176. What I'm doing now is to give you kind of the big picture. Big picture. There are many details, in each section. But I think first you need to kind of see the structure of the practice. So at 176, this is what Suyong wants. The visualization for the time of mantra. (176) is the visualization. Again, we can look more carefully later. 176. 177, that's the main mantra for Achi. Yeah, 177. That's the main mantra for Achi, this Achi practice. Om Sarva Buddha Dhakini Harini Sahong Om Gamu Achita Shori Dharmatare Mama Chakra Soha Yardu Sarvadu Raja Rajadu Mama Gyanataradu Gamu Samaya Taradema Dakini Mama Ayupunye Duya Pushtin Guru Hong Soha. Om Sarva Buddha Dhakini Harini Sahong Om Gamu Achita Shwari Dharmatare Mama Chakra Swaha Yardu Sarvadu Raja Rajadu Mama Gyanataradu Gamu Samaya Taradema Dakini Mama Ayupunye Duya Pushtin Guru Hong Soha. Magic words.
Could you read it one more time?
Om Sarva Buddha Dakini Harini Sahum. Om Gamo Achita Shwari Dharmatare Mama Chakra Soha. Yardu Sarvadu Raja Rajadu Mama Gyanataradu. Gyanataradu. Mamu Gamu Samaya Tara Dema Dakini. Mama Ayu Punya Duya Pushtin Guru Hong Soha.
So jhana is what?
Jnana. And that's like wisdom. Wisdom, knowledge, jnana. Jnanatara. This mantra includes the Vajrayogini mantra, Achi's mantra, the mantras of her Dakinis, and also what we call activity dharma, activity mantra, meaning like certain types of special blessings are being built up. And specifically, it's the blessing of longevity, long life. Here, long life means not suffering from accidental deaths. Sometimes, we say long life. Oh, I don't want. Unless the doctor tells you, oh, I think there is something, right? But otherwise, all we are like, long life. What it means here is to protect against accidental death. Yes, everything is karma, but it's also possible to have accidental death. That means your karma to be in this life as this person is actually not done yet. But due to some intervening negative things, wrong combination can cut off your life. So in particular, this kind of power, so to say, is built up in this mantra. So that's like the basic practice. After this is something called offering torma, which means making a food offering to Achi. Then after that there is a talk, meaning a feast offering to repair our breaking of our connection with her, basically. So it's you could say mending any breach in samaya breach relationship with her, to repair that. So we offer. It's also another offering, but the second offering we share in the offering, as in we offer to her, we also eat. The first offering, the torma, no, only offered to her. But in talk, Gana Chakra, we share the offering. So the suggestion here is, we are friends, Especially in a hierarchical society, only equals eat together. Yeah. So the torma offering is more like, you are great, I am low, I give you. But the Gana Chakra, the talk, is ultimately you and I are same. So we now can share this meal. So you offer the Buddhist, and then you eat too, you know. So talk. And then, you know, at the end, it's the subsequent stage. You confess and you purify, hopefully not superficially. Then dedication on page 189. 188 is the confess. At the bottom of 188, it says recite the 100-syllable mantra. That's the purify and confess. So then that's it, you know. The kind of big picture of the practice. Then, depending on how much time we have in the next few days, whenever we have opportunity, then we learn a little bit more. Depending if we have time, we have to see so many things. This, just to point up. So this text here, right now, I can share with you, if you need, the PDF of this whole collection. Then if you want this physical copy, like the different sanghas, I have like maybe another 300-400 copies coming from Nepal. The first printing, I printed 500 copies. We distributed about 300 copies in India during the transmission, the month-long transmission. Then another 300 copies, or maybe 500, I printed further. So they should be getting to North Carolina when His Holiness gets there. So if there are other centers, if people need this, you know, they should get in touch with us, and then we will send you this collection, this text. Here, most of you already know what this statue is. So this is Gyoba Jigden Sungren, of course. But it is believed that this statue was made in his lifetime. So one of the statues of Gyoba Jigden Sungren from his lifetime. So this morning, His Holiness saw it for the first time. Yeah. He said it's very special. It has a very subtle smile on the face. Gyoba Jigden Sungren here. The other thing that is very special, really, if you want to come up later, you see, you cannot see the inside of his right hand, but you can see, or the palm, right? You cannot see his right palm, but you can see his left palm, and you can see his the bottom of his left foot and right foot. So if you look, you will see like a circle on the hand and on the bottom of both feet. This is Dharma chakra. So these is part of the 32 major signs of a Buddha. as far as I have seen, no statues of great lamas. Do the makers dare to put wheels? Because then you're saying he's a Buddha. It's Vajrayana training to see your guru as Buddha. That's different from making statues with those signs that is reserved for, like Shakyamuni. Even Shakyamuni statues these days, they don't, put the wheel. Very rare. You can see, but very rare. And even Kyoba Jigten Sumgon later statues, you don't see that. I think Drikung people, maybe when they're just in their own valley, and they did this because they so strongly believe that he was a Buddha. So no problem, But later, when more people heard, Drikung people are making statues of their guru with these signs, maybe people criticize. Then later generations also don't. So only in these very, very early statues you'll see that they put this. Quality-wise, this statue is not as refined as other statues made during that time. But those other statues don't have, usually, as far as I've seen, like photos, like museum collection, photos of Kyoba Jigten Sumgon statues from his time, they don't see these wheels. So this is quite special that way. Changju Samcho Rinpoche Ma Kye Pa Nam Kye Gyur Chi Kye Pa Nyam Pa